Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm here to show you a video I just watched called Secret Chamber Behind Sphinx Ear from the Mystery History channel. This is actually back in 2017. And the big question this puts forward is what's behind the Sphinx ear? As you may know, I did a video about the Sphinx a few months back, just trying to organize the different aspects of the Sphinx. So it was just an overall general video. I didn't really even talk about this in that video, although I was aware of it and have been told that it's a type of switch that turns on the pyramids so people may shoot to another planet. Whether or not I believe that myself, what we have to realize is that when we look at this, the part here was created within the 19th century. It's cement. It looks like bricks in the front. They're not really bricks. It's just cement buildup. It's support. And the headdress is a couple thousand years old, but it's made of concrete. The face was replaced. We see this striation line. This is ancient concrete, a concrete that has chipped away over time and nobody fixed. Same with this part. All these lines over here were just weathering. I think that the ear was damaged and the nose was damaged by the same people. Maybe there was sand right up there so they could reach it really easily. You could practically park the camels in the shade next to it right there. The sand was so high around it. People can climb up there and stand in the ear. Here you can see it's almost like a little step was left there. People could stand on that and stand right in there. Here you see the man standing in there. He can barely even reach the ear. Okay, here you can see the ancient limestone sticks out right there. So some people think that this limestone cap was the original head. Here's the Member 3 limestone example with the striations of weathering and water deterioration, erosion. Now this is the pyramid. This is right around the corner. It's believed this is the same height and layer pattern as the Sphinx itself. Part of me believes that the front of the Sphinx was covered, so they dug into the ground to do the body. The head part was probably a large piece of limestone cap, but what's on it now is not limestone. What is on it now is concrete. This is ancient Egyptian concrete. And what happened is it started to deteriorate, and the question is, where does the concrete stop and the limestone begin? This is no longer the limestone. You can see it right there. That's not the same. In this 1800 and something year photo, you can clearly see that that additional support hadn't been added to the headdress yet. What you see is the limestone going all the way up into the chin area in the front, but in the back, actually you can see it sticking through this ancient concrete from about 2500 BC that the Egyptians did as a correction or an alteration of the original Sphinx. You can see ancient sandstone striations here, just like the rest of the body. So this is original right here, but this piece of original part going underneath the headdress and maybe peeking through here, maybe peeking through the top, was re-carved to put this other thing on top of it. It's very clear that the limestone is much, much older than the concrete that's covering it up. And it's very clear in coloration and in quality in a way because the limestone withstood so many years. It seems like that the original limestone head was carved down to just a mushroom shape. In the back, it's really, you can see it's just a mushroom shape that the concrete head was added to. They could do anything they wanted on top of that limestone foundation, and they used ancient concrete. It wasn't a carved stone. It's clearly not. You can check the indicators from the reports that I've shown you in my videos. There's no mineral deposits in there. When we look at the front of the Sphinx, we can see that the modern day chin has been protected by some type of a coating. The limestone still shows a separate color, but it's quite clear that there has been a coating added to all surfaces of the Sphinx that are made of limestone. And the so-called switch behind the ear, or underneath the ear really, it seems to me that that is actually going into the original piece of limestone. And perhaps while the back was mushroom shaped, the front was still some type of face. I have to realize that the headdress protrudes, and it seems like the original mushroom shaped limestone also protrudes. So the face may have been a combination of a recarving of the front and then the concrete added to make it more manipulatable. We see an age difference here. The striations in the face compared to the striations in the body. In the limestone part, that's much, much older. What you see happening to the concrete, that's much, much younger. Is it 2,500 years BC? Is that 4,500 years old? It might be. Or it could have been altered at other times. Perhaps it was repaired later. The Sphinx was buried up to its neck for many centuries, and people could have walked up and done many changes to it while it stuck out of the sand. To me, the line that leads from the right corner of the mouth, or the left if you're looking right at it, it goes straight back into the ear. And that line, that striation line, actually goes past the back of the ear and meets the headdress itself. So that says that that's all new concrete on top of the limestone. You can see that the striation line comes out into the headdress area. There was some type of a segment, and you can see those segments continue up the headdress. That's not the original carving. That type of carving doesn't match the rest of the Sphinx. You can clearly see the limestone difference with the face up atop. Again, here, very clear difference in coloration of the parts of the Sphinx. People are camping on the shoulder there. So we're talking about quite a large area that had to have been refabricated. Look at this dark color for the face and the headdress, where you still see the light limestone member underneath. Here you can't even see the dream steel. Here there were certain things covering the stele. Why are they covering it? Here you can see a very clear difference between the head and the actual limestone body. Again, this group is covering up the top of the stele, and this is different. Here the stele isn't covered up in the top. We're talking about the top. That's the written declaration from the king that said, I'm the king because I cleared the sand around the Sphinx. Here we can see they're covering it up. So the limestone members, as I showed you in the other picture, they have the third member, which could be, but very doubtful. That's not limestone. That's ancient concrete. So the king of Egypt, when he placed that stele there, he also probably made the change to the head. Whether or not it was a repair or a selfish act or for his memorial, or if it were for some other reason to repair it. I don't think that a dog's or even a lion's big head could have been carved out of that third member very easily. To me, you can see a nice clean line here. It feels like maybe the head part was a big chunk of limestone that was placed there, and it was carved into the land. I think that this piece right here could be a separate piece. This line is diagonal, it's not horizontal, but it still seems like it could be a block of separate limestone that was placed on top. And perhaps this limestone cap was big enough to carve something small, but not big. The limestone sticking through this ancient concrete, it has been repaired in modern day with modern day concrete. You can see this modern day concrete and its difference. Look at the difference in color when the sun's shining on it like that. You can see the ancient sandstone goes up, but then the concrete covers it here. So as far as this being part of some secret thing, I doubt it. There is a tunnel in the head. Maybe it was just an air shaft. Maybe it was just a window going into the room that's in there. Edward Casey said there were rooms in there, 2 of them in the head, small ones. And if that ear is really big enough to be above that guy's head by 4 feet, then that means it's like 10 feet from the base of the shoulder to the ear. Maybe there is a room in there, small, carved. Are there 2 rooms? Perhaps this line here shows a separation from the block that was placed on top of the ground, and then they carved down. So this piece of limestone could have been something stronger, something a little bit different. They need to test that neck, but what did they do? They covered it up. I wish that it looks like they've covered it a little bit with some type of a coating, but what they should do is go near the edge, right underneath there, where the coating's probably flaking off anyways, and they need to pull some of that out there and test it. Or go to the other side, or go on the inside and test it. We know they have this door on top of it. When you get up close to this one, you can see they're trying to make it really wide. That's not really how a dog's body is shaped. It's actually dips in there. But this headdress probably wasn't out there anyway, so they don't need to make that. They could have gone straight in to about here. Shoulders. You've got all this new brickwork. That body could have been shaped like anything. Some of these bricks are Roman, and the altar in the front is also supposed to be Roman. Thutmose IV erected an epigraphic stela between the front paws of the Great Sphinx of Giza in the first year of his reign, 1401 before Christ, during the 18th dynasty. So he wanders around in the desert. He finds the pyramids. He says, hey, what's this? And there's this buried Sphinx. It's 360 centimeters. That's 3 meters high and 2 meters wide, 218 centimeters wide. And it's 70 centimeters thick. It shows Thutmose IV making offerings to the Great Sphinx. And as you can see, it also shows some chambers below the Sphinx. What does the dream stela prove? It proves that nobody built this. It was already here.